first of all, then I just wanted to touch on you guys. Obviously having a pretty successful season so far. Massive game for you guys, obviously. So yeah, what's the mood like in your camp, and how much are you looking forward to this game?
Everybody's very excited because that's where we want to be at the start of the season, to be in the playoff hunt in the URC and possibly go as far as possible in the European Cup. So reaching the semi-final again for the second year in a row is where we want to be. And obviously coming to Gloucester is a special game for myself, but for the team as well, because it's such a unique venue. And to play an important game like that is going to be special. So the players are excited. Obviously, has been a long season because 20 plus players are involved in the Six Nations. It's never easy, to keep the intensity as high as possible. So in the last few weeks, to be fair, I did some turnover just to allow players to get back into at the best of their shape. But yeah, we are ready.
Yeah, you mentioned it there. That moves on quite nicely then to obviously the link with the Italian national squad. Where are the sort of challenges, and what are the good parts about having so many boys involved in that national squad? Obviously, as you mentioned there, it does become quite a long season, but then obviously to have those boys playing even for the national squad together is brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of positives. I mean, especially when they win at international level, like they did in the last Six Nations, they bring back that energy and mentality, and also their belief they can do the same. They can do the same with Benetton. On the other side, losing 20 players, 20 of your best players. It's got that knock-on effect that you lose momentum a little bit on the way you are doing things, and other players need to step up, and that's the reality. And also when they come back, they're coming back, a bit tired, mentally exhausted from the Six Nations. So it takes 1 or 2 weeks, to get in the same frame of mind and the same flow of doing things. But I think this year we've been way better than the year before because they are also developing this ability, to go away with the Italian team, come back to the club and perform. So I think it's a win-win situation at the moment. Obviously, there's some game management time for players that we need to look after, but that's part of our job.
Yeah, you mentioned the belief. How massive is that? Because obviously in the past there'll be plenty of times when those boys are coming back into the Benetton camp after pretty disappointing Six Nations campaigns and probably a bit disappointed in themselves. Did you notice when they came back from that Six Nations campaign? I just imagine they were all full of confidence.
Yeah, 100%. I think we start the season very strong, and I was hoping for them to be successful in the Six Nations just to keep momentum and keep building this mindset, this mentality, winning mentality, and they did that. So that was great, and obviously they came back with a lot of energy and also um, willingness to push with the club as well. So now they know is the very important part of the season for the club, and they need to perform like top players do every year. So I mean, it's part of their development, as I said, but I think they're learning very fast.
And can you tell us a little bit about the balance of your squad? Because obviously Benetton have always had those Italian internationals. I mean, everyone knows Michele Lamaro. I think everyone knows Tommaso Menincello now after the Six Nations. But also you've obviously got some ex-Prem guys and some guys from the Southern Hemisphere in there to sort of complement those. Is it a good balance within your squad?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, because we have so many players that go away during the international windows, we need to attract some quality players, foreign quality players that they can still play when the other guys are away. But as well, my objective 2 years ago was to start to build in a high performance culture mentality within the team. So attracting those players that are coming from different environments and they maybe experience that in some other clubs and bring the experience into our club, that's is helping the whole team. So that was the objective why we signed Malakai Fekitoa last year, because we want this experienced player to tell us and to tell the players, what are their standards every day and what we need to change, or how we need to develop the situations. So massive influence. Obviously, we signed a couple of 2 or 3 Premiership players, Jacob Umaga and Paulo Dogu, at the end of last season, and they've been huge for us. First of all, they accept the challenge to come and play rugby in Italy, which is not, in the past it wasn't that straightforward. But I think they fit very well, and they understand the culture. They like the way we are doing things. They play very good rugby.
And in the European games like this, do they come into their own even more, would you say? Because obviously you play in the URC, there'll be plenty of Italian boys that have played against those URC teams a lot, but boys like Malachi, Jacob Umanga, Paulo Odogwu, they would have obviously played here at Kingsholm, played against Gloucester. When you play these European games and they know the sides, that's a big help, I imagine.
Yeah, obviously they have their own insights, and they help the team to prepare, because the the preparation during the week is not only from a rugby perspective or physical, but also a mindset perspective. So they can give the other players insights of what they know about the club, about the supporters, especially this week. And that's always a big and good value. To be fair, the URC is very different than the Premiership and the top 14, for example, because we play against very different teams and very different style of rugby. So I do feel we are prepared to play against different oppositions, and obviously Premiership teams offer their own challenge, and in terms of physicality and physical confrontation for the advantage line. But we experience that against the Irish teams or against the South African teams. So I think the URC really prepare us also, to play those games.
Perfect. Moving on then to this weekend. Obviously, you would have done your research on Gloucester, and I'm not sure how much you follow them. Obviously, it's been a mixed season for us, with some disappointment in the Premiership, but then some good moments in the Cup. What are your sort of thoughts on the current Gloucester team?
Yeah, I always follow Gloucester, to be fair. So yeah, it has been quite um, mixed feeling season probably, but I do feel the Premiership is so competitive that there's small margins are between the top team and probably the bottom one. I do feel they have a very young team. They are developing a very young team, which is going to pay off probably in the next few years. But they're already performing, because yes, in the Premiership, they only won 4 games, but they have been in very tight scores in so many others that could have won easily another 4 or 5. And they've been performing very well in Europe, which is a different challenge. So yes, as you said, maybe they're second from bottom in the Premiership, but I'm not where near to have the illusion that it's going to be an easy game, or a game that any team can take very lightly when you go to Kingsholm and play against Gloucester.
Yeah, it leads on perfectly to my next question then, and the effect that this place can have on away teams. Obviously, you experienced it many times as a home player here and a home captain here. What's the message from you to your guys to sort of embrace the atmosphere here?
Yeah, we had a strategy this week, just to prepare the guys for the noise of the shed and the Gloucester supporters. I think we got to embrace the challenge, because the contest is everything. So we got to understand the contest, understand there will be a lot of noise, a lot of support for the home team, which is always the case. This time, obviously, is going to be even bigger. And we got to embrace that. We got to find ways where we isolate ourselves and we stay focused on the game for the 80 minutes, because that's the only thing we can control. And I'm sure if we can do that, we will have our chances. On the other side, I think Gloucester team is like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, because they're very disciplined, very pragmatic in the right areas. But as they get front football, they spread the play. They like to use the ball out wide, and that's a threat that you've got to be very careful. We play against some similar teams, so we know what we need to control. But as I said, is watching a lot of games of Gloucester is they have these two sides, and they always prepare to take the risk if it's on or if they have front foot, and that obviously will be a big weapon they try to apply to the game.
And moving on to yourself personally, then, how much are you looking forward to being back at Kingsholm, seeing some old friends, and obviously seeing some of the Gloucester Rugby supporters again as well?
Yeah, very excited. He has been, and it's a very special place for myself. And coming back to Gloucester for such a big game, and try to be as good as we can be as a team as well, is going to be the biggest challenge. But I think we prepare well, and I'm excited. I'm not nervous. I'm excited because I will enjoy the shed. I will enjoy the supporters. I will enjoy the atmosphere, and I hope my team will do the same, because that's the only way they can be as good as they can be.
And you obviously had some massive moments here at Kingsholm, and particularly in Europe as well. What is it about this club and this competition that seems to go so well together?
Yeah, listen, I think we reached quarterfinals against Munster. When I was there, I was captain. So um, you know Gloucester is such a special place that for any team that doesn't know probably the atmosphere and come over there and play, and the French teams or the Italian teams are like that, maybe they go shocked. So a big part of the preparation from my side was to make the players understand what they're going to face, because that's what makes Gloucester special. That's what makes the team play with their heart and with their emotions during the 80 minutes. We got to make sure we match that.